everyone. Welcome to Life in Full Send, Athletes Reimagined, the podcast where we discuss the experience of redefining life after being an athlete. I am your host, Liz Hall, an integration specialist and your teammate in navigating the big question, what comes after sports? Each week, I sit down with former athletes who have faced that very question and share how they navigated the transition. Today's episode is so special for so many reasons. I was actually in his wedding, standing as a bridesmaid for my best friend. So it's incredible to have him as a guest today and chatting about all things sports. Let's dive in with Vernon Burden, a story about identity, redefining success, and his commitment to student athlete. Let's get into it.
I think every single one of my teammates was new to me. Every one of my coaches, they were new to me. Other than going through the recruiting process, it wasn't like little league to high school and you're all in the same area. You grow up together, you have the same teammates. You are meeting 100 plus brand new people and you're doing things brand new and it's different personalities. The other adjustment is everyone was that guy at their high school. This is now 25 years ago. One thing that I thought was always interesting is the guys that were showing their highlight films in the dorm rooms our freshman year didn't make it all 4 years. They were still caught up on who they were instead of what they were doing now and what they were gaining and growing into. It's great to celebrate your past accomplishments, but you are looking at the next level. You still have a transfer that wants to come in that was all Mountain West, and you have existing players that are in there that were highly recruited players the year before. Those are the things you have to get used to. The competition is always there. The standard of who you are as a player is always there. So those extra intangibles become very important. What you're doing outside of the norm becomes important in everything that you do because the playing field is so balanced. Those little things that will propel one person to success and the other into the transfer portal.
And I loved what you said. The guys that were showing their highlight reels, we must die to who we were in order to become who we are next. And I'm not talking our highest potential. I'm saying next. So we got to die to the high school life to become the college. That's in order to succeed and in order to really go into that actualization piece to be that best of the next. I think that's really powerful what you said of just being aware of that. It's like you said, the portal is something. It's good for some. It's not great for some, and it's here. And so how do we adjust? So I'm curious if you've seen senior players or wrestlers where they know they're done, they're not going to go college. Have you seen anybody struggle with the ending of it? And are there signs that you see?
Yeah. I think one of the key things, especially as a coach, you start to see the weights that they're carrying with them. You see the losses or the negative play wear on them so much more. And I could go over 20 years of seeing it with seniors, even moments where I look at myself like I have to be a better coach and be more supportive in that situation, because I can recognize that this is something that I have a high expectation for them to do. They know that they can do it, but that weight that they have of, I need it to go right for me, starts to hinder them from having that success. One young man is like big time now. His name's Keith Lee. He's like a TikTok food reviewer with millions of followers. But I remember, and I still have it in my phone, Keith is senior year, and me and Keith, we butted heads so much throughout his 4 years of me coaching him. His senior year, I can vividly remember we were wrestling at Birmingham Seaholm High School. He was wrestling a young man from Hazel Park, a good wrestler. and he got beat, and it wasn't a good beat. And Keith was starting to feel the losses adding up to him. He only had like 6 losses, but he was so fixated on those 6 losses. He sent me a text message and he just opened up. He was saying, I don't know what to do anymore, coach. I'm sucking. I'm not good. And again, Keith and I butted heads, and I had assistant coaches that would say, "Hey, Mike, go get your kid." And it was so interesting because for Keith to send that to me, I said, if your career ended today, you've accomplished so much that you're already one of the greatest wrestlers to wear that singlet at our school. So be prideful in that. It's so hard when kids have so much talent and they don't see the end. And then you see on the other end, kids that know that this is it. Like, this is my last time competing, but take all of that need for success, take it away, because the core memories that you have are already established, and you're going to get more, and you're going to get more core memories off the playing surfaces in your life. But just getting students to live in the moment, having them put into perspective all of the great things that they've done that has put them in this place. As a coach and an athlete, I learned the pursuit is the sport, not the prize. I played in, I think, college football games. Like, that's 36 hours. But I was at the University of Findlay for 4 years. I put on a helmet and shoulder pads and laced up my cleats way more than 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to shift their mindset into what they've already accomplished, how great they're succeeding at the pursuit, and not worry about what's not in front of them, and just continue to live in and celebrate the things that are with them now.
I want to hear what your experience was like in college of you knowing it was your last college game.
When you fast forward 4 years, and for myself, those 20 guys that I walked with on senior day, we have went through everything together. And I mean, when I say everything, when my father got sick and was diagnosed with cancer, my roommates and I drove to Mobile, Alabama to hang out with him. And we just got in the car and drove 12 hours. So you go through all of these life events together. And you go through, for a college athlete, you go through the grinds together, 6 a.m. workouts in the winter, 2-a-days. You go through that cadence for 4 years with someone. So your life, you get so used to it. And everything is scripted. I never could take a class from 3 to 6. Like, I never knew that school had classes at the University of Pennsylvania from 3 to 6. It was a lot going on. Guess what? We were at practice. And that is what makes it such an emotional time when you have that last game. Because unlike if I'm at Michigan or Michigan State or a Power 5 school, I'm looking at my career and I'm looking at life thereafter. My college coach had a great way of word playing things, and he would have these, we call them simmeralisms. And one thing he used to say is, the next 4 years are to prepare you for the next 40. So when we got to Findlay, he harped on that. These 4 years are to prepare you for the next 40. And that is so true, especially for a non-Power 5 player, but even without the mentality, for 97% of players at the collegiate level, your senior day is your end. And even for that lucky 2 to 3%, you're probably going to be done in the next 2 years. And being prepared for life thereafter was interesting. It's just that you knew that the cadence of life that you were so accustomed to was now gone.
There's so many comparisons with military and athletes because you do become that family. You know what it's like. That grind is like no other. That discipline and grit is like no other. You can't explain that to somebody. And it's different levels of hard. Somebody that is studying for medicine. That's a different type of hard, but when you're doing it together, that's the bond. Then when that goes away, that death of self, because it's not just sports that you're leaving. It's now that family and belonging and the schedule. Like you said, you knew where to be, what to do, how to show up. So you didn't have to think beyond that. Okay, now I get to manage my own time. That's why a lot of athletes become overweight too, right? Because they're like, well, nobody's making me go to the gym or do 2-a-days. And actually, a cheeseburger sounds great. Such a great conversation with one of my very favorite people. Thanks to Vernon Burden for sharing your heart, your time, your journey through navigating life after the jersey. If this episode inspired you, please share it with a fellow athlete or friend navigating their next chapter, because we're all just writing our playbooks as we go. Make sure to follow and subscribe to Life in Full Send, Athletes Reimagined. And if you loved the episode, please drop a comment so we can reach more incredible athletes who may need to feel seen and heard. Next week, we have an incredible and quite frankly, jaw-dropping episode about transitioning into an entirely different environment, racism, and more. Until next time, please remember the game ends, your story doesn't. Keep living life in full send.